It is a privilege and a burden to know the deeper realities of our lives and the world around us. Gaining deeper knowledge can be a challenging endeavor at times. The more you investigate the riddles of life, the clearer the truth is underneath the surface. Plus, dealing with it isn't always a picnic. Here are 7 uncomfortable realities that spiritually inclined people will face head-on, yet ultimately conquer. Here you are. Spiritual development isn't complete without an existential crisis or dark night of the soul, which every seeker must face. A journey into the dark recesses of one's own soul. It is a necessary part of coming of age. During this inevitable time, our spiritual roots go deep into the ground, in search of the nutrients our souls need to thrive. It's in the darkness that this process takes place. A call to explore the unexplored regions of your own consciousness. An existential crisis is a spiritual call to a higher truth. It beckons us to ponder, investigate, and yearn for solutions to the deepest secrets of life. As bewildering as this crisis is, it is for a greater good. It gets to the heart of things by removing the veneer, showing us our essential selves and what matters most. A change in the very surface of the earth beneath your feet is possible during this stage. Things that were reassuring before are now unsatisfactory. Even behaviors that formerly appeared harmless now show how harmful they really are. This is more of a cleansing and elucidation than a punishment. Your external environment will mirror the changes occurring within you. Things like relationships, jobs, and hobbies that don't mesh with your newfound reality will inevitably go away. This is a difficult yet essential procedure for development. A fresh layer of skin can then be seen when the old one is peeled off. The process itself is characterized by loss. Even those who were formerly your closest companions may feel unfamiliar with you and reluctant to continue this trip with you. It is normal to experience sadness and anguish after their passing. But there is a potent germ of transformation within this suffering. During the dark night of the soul, you can wonder why you're even here. Anxieties and internal strife could make you feel that your life is in peril. This is where your metamorphosis takes place. The furnace that eliminates deception and leaves only honesty behind. The rewards for enduring and growing from these trials are numerous, but only if you are prepared to face them head-on. The only way for your soul to go through the transformation required for real growth is to welcome the shadow instead of running away from it. Transformed into a vessel that can contain an unadulterated state of awareness, you are undergoing an internal metamorphosis. If you're on a quest for enlightenment, you could be looking for simple answers about the nature of reality. Truth is not necessarily black and white, though, as you will discover when you delve more into the subject. There are a lot of complications and paradoxes on the spiritual path, and they might be hard to understand. What is true for one individual could not translate to another. The idea that different levels of reality could have different truths is a common theme in many spiritual traditions. As an example, the spiritual realm may not adhere to the physical world's facts. In some settings, a statement that has great truth may have no bearing whatsoever. The contradiction starts here. A certain amount of mystique and unknowability is also implied by the intricacy of truth. We can't fathom everything there is to know about God and the cosmos. You may look at this as a challenge, but I think it's more like a challenge to discover how little we know. This candor could be difficult to maintain in a society that so frequently seeks binary solutions. Those who assert to possess unambiguous answers and unparalleled wisdom are often rewarded by society. Instead than delivering rigid teachings, the most influential spiritual leaders of all time tended to speak via tales and parables that encouraged reflection and individual interpretation. This intricacy necessitates accepting and even welcoming ambiguity and doubt. Doubt, by making us think critically, investigate more thoroughly, and reject assumptions, may be a potent instrument for personal development. Embracing uncertainty can help us remain modest and receptive to novel opportunities. The spiritual ego can avoid getting too rooted in its own idea of enlightenment with its help. Some of your deeply held views may turn out to be unhelpful as you go on your path. Your soul is going through a normal developmental stage when this happens. The interdependence of all things, the transcendence of form, and the everlasting essence of awareness are all revealed to you as you delve further into the layers of intricacy. The search for deeper, meaningful love is frequently one of the most significant challenges faced by individuals on a spiritually awakened journey. Going on a quest for a connection that goes beyond the mundane, beyond the material, and into the spiritual and deep may be a lonely ordeal. A soulmate, not a companion, is what you're after. By soulmate, I don't mean an ordained spouse, but rather a someone with whom you share deep and abiding values. You have come to realize through your enlightenment that love is more than a feeling or a physical bond. This coming together of spirits is a holy union, a power that uplifts and nourishes both parties. You are aware that there is energy associated with every encounter. There is a deeper need inside you that exchange and casual interactions can't fulfill. Finding love might feel even more difficult in light of this. Your reawakened self desires more in a society that frequently values superficial connections over meaningful ones, where matching partners is as easy as swiping left or right. Conversations about the cosmos and life itself, the kind that go on late into the night, are what you're after. Love is a spiritual discipline, and you want to find a partner who shares this view and is willing to walk with you on your journey to enlightenment. Therefore, it's not enough to only seek love. You must also attract the love that mirrors your true essence. Keeping the principles and depth you've found within yourself intact and being loyal to your awakened soul are key. Although being true to your soul's desires may make the road less wide, it will be more rewarding in the end. Therefore, loving oneself must be prioritized. Attracting someone who appreciates depth above surface-level qualities becomes easier the more you focus on nurturing and understanding your soul. Building a relationship that takes into account more than just your physical attributes might begin with the cultivation of self-love. Be patient on this road. You must have trust, not only in the cosmos, but also in the divine plan for your life's events. All that yearning is a cosmic communication, a plea for that soulmate. Always keep in mind that the universe works according to a divine timing that knows exactly when we are prepared, not the timetable we would have chosen. Amply prepared to not only discover love, but also to welcome and cultivate it. Meanwhile, the love you desire from someone is simultaneously drawn to you. The relationships you seek are quietly taking shape, ready to emerge when the time is perfect. Let the love you have inside be a blessing to the world, even while you keep looking for a soulmate. Allow it to permeate all aspects of your life, including your relationships, creativity, and selflessness. You radiate love in this way. Your one true love will find you in the end because of this brightness. One of the deepest realities that those who practice spirituality must confront is the fact that they will inevitably suffer. Everyone, no matter how far down the spiritual road they travel, will inevitably face hardship. All lives are intertwined by this idea. Despite this, many of us struggle with or deny this facet of reality. When we accept life as it is, flaws and all, we make room for the wisdom that comes from enduring adversity. There are several manifestations of pain, including bodily, psychological, emotional, and spiritual. A bodily injury suffering is one example, while the aching of a yearning heart is another. Unfortunately, most people would rather not deal with pain, even though it's something everyone has to deal with eventually. Understanding and learning from pain is vital for spiritual growth and maturation. Neither seeking nor celebrating pain are part of the spiritual response to it. The key is to understand its function in our evolutionary past. Suffering has the power to pierce our egos expose our innermost selves, and bring us face to face with our common frailty. When we're hurting, the barriers we've put up around our emotions can crumble, and we can feel greater empathy and compassion for others around us. On top of that, adversity frequently serves as a spur to personal growth. It has the power to shock us out of our slumber and make us reevaluate our life's priorities, principles, and meaning. As a result, we are inspired to broaden our horizons, discover our inner strengths and tenacity, and overcome obstacles we never thought possible. The world's wisdom traditions tell us that facing pain head-on, rather than trying to run away from it, is the best way to cope. Taking stock of our suffering entails sitting with it, figuring out where it came from, and getting wisdom from it. The key is to recognize that pain is inevitable, but to not let yourself be defined by it. Put simply, we understand that although we may go through tough times, it does not define who we are. Incorporating adversity into our spiritual path means learning to surrender, to stop worrying about things we can't change, and instead concentrate on those things we can control. Living in the now, rather than daydreaming about a better future, is the lesson it imparts. It is in that same presence that we frequently discover the germs of restoration and development. A key step toward spiritual growth is turning our own pain into social healing via acts of service, compassion, and kindness. The spiritual journey is an introspective foray into uncharted territory, fraught with peril and obstacles that go counter to our basic human desires. The seemingly easy process of letting go can really be one of the most difficult and taxing challenges we encounter. Letting go entails more than just a bodily release. It also has a spiritual component. The aim is to let go of the attachments, wants, and concepts that our brains and egos cling to. Everything that is in the way of our spiritual development and liberation must be let go of, including worldly goods, outmoded ideas, resentment, and disappointments of the past. For what reason is it so hard to let go? Attachment is the foundation upon which our ego rests, the feeling of an independent self. It takes comfort in its history and the things it knows. Our minds are hardwired to hold on to things we've become used to, even if they're hurting us or no longer benefit us. This includes relationships, identities, and experiences. By clutching, we create a false feeling of security and control. Embracing uncertainty, facing the unknown, and trusting in life's unfolding are all necessary components of letting go. The message is one of submission to a higher power, to the global flow that controls all. Letting go and trusting are closely related practices. Faith in the universe's fundamental goodness, rather than on the predictability of results, is necessary for trusting life's process. New chances, viewpoints, and experiences can enter our life when we release what is holding us back. It's all about making room for development and progress. Forgiving ourselves and those around us is also a part of letting go. By letting go of grudges and anger, we free ourselves to experience more spiritual energy in our life. By letting go of grudges and hurts, we free ourselves to let love heal us and move on from painful memories. Letting go teaches us to be humble and to recognize that everything is fleeting. This way of living brings us into harmony with the realities of transience and the fact that we are not defined by the superficial things that surround us, but by the core of who we are. Journeying within, as part of self-reflection, is not always a picnic. When persons with a strong spirituality focus on themselves, they may discover aspects of themselves that they aren't fond of. Meditation is an art form, a holy conversation with one's own soul. It entails looking within, into the shadow portions of ourselves that are typically hidden from view, the regions where our anxieties, insecurities, and repressed emotions live. This shadow has more than just our flaws. It also contains latent abilities, untapped potential, and energy that we have neglected in our pursuit of societal approval. Therefore, a dedication to truth is required for shadow employment. In doing so, we must face the fact that our flaws and vices are integral parts of who we are. Recognizing this does not mean we are bad people. Rather, it means we are embracing ourselves completely. The seeds of change are planted in the ground of this acceptance. Exploration is at the heart of introspection and shadow work. In order to understand our emotions and actions, it is necessary to go inside our minds. The key is to questioning your reactions and asking, why do I react this way? I don't know what to be scared of. How did I come to believe this about myself? Completely facing oneself requires a strong heart. Hence, this is the task of fighters. We are not aiming to reinvent ourselves or eliminate any aspects of our identity while we engage in this inward journey. Rather, we are aiming for a complete integration of who we are. Our calling as spiritual beings is not perfection, but completeness, not the opposite. The known and the unknown, the visible and the invisible, are all a part of this completeness. The most authentic kind of liberation is found in embracing this completeness. The fallacy of thinking that there is a final destination, a peak of enlightenment that will complete us, is common in the outset of many people's spiritual journeys. Our mission was complete. However, the spiritual path's actuality is very different and more lovely all the same. It is a never-ending quest with no conclusion in sight. In the same way that a river's flow is never the same from one moment to the next, so too is this voyage. A key component of spiritual development is the realization that both life and one's own progress are inherently changeable. Rather than finding meaning at a fixed point of arrival, it is in the ever-changing flow that we discover it. Becoming more fully and truly oneself is the goal of the spiritual journey, not changing into someone else. There is a chance to grow, to learn something new, to gain a better grasp of ourselves and our place in the world at each given instant. In case the idea of constant development is too scary, just think about what it would be like to be spiritually stagnant, to live a life without adventure, to have your path cut short. Life is full of vitality and excitement because the path is never ending. By accepting that there is no final destination for enlightenment, we may let go of the urge to get there and concentrate on the journey instead. The goals you set for yourself, like becoming a master or attaining enlightenment, may change and develop as you go. Attaining enlightenment is not a one-and-done deal. What enlightens us to new parts of our life is a succession of moments, insights, and experiences. The embracing of continual progress rather than the end of learning is what it is. The path ahead is not devoid of obstacles. Life is full of ups and downs, happy times and sad ones. But it is by this variety of experiences that we learn to value life to its fullest. Allow this understanding to serve as a compass and solace as you go forward on your journey. The road will never end, but it is a blessing. The blessing of everlasting becoming rather than a burden. Hopefully you find some solace in these words.